Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Chicago, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Duluth, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta, Jacksonville, Florida, Tempe, Arizona, and Burbank, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. So guess what? This is inconceivable. Now that Joe Biden's not running, CNN mentioned Burisma, Ukraine NFE company that paid Hunter Biden while Biden was vice president. So you remember all that stuff that was called conspiracy theorists and crazy in the CIA 51? They said you're lying. Well, it turns out it was all true. And now that Joe Biden's not running for president anymore, the New York Times, CNN, the mainstream news media gets to report on it. Isn't that
a warning to Biden to shut his trap?
After attacking and smearing Hunter Biden business partner Tony Bobulinski, the New York Times, now a story at the New York Post and Fox News reported in October 2020. So now the New York Times is doing a story after they smeared that guy that the New York Post and Fox News reported in 2020. And then Twitter and Facebook censored it. Wow. Here we go.
Kate. And Caitlin, there's also this new reporting coming from the New York Times that Hunter Biden asked the State Department for help on behalf of Ukrainian gas company Burisma.
Now, well, it's 2024. Now it's like, what? We've been reporting this shit for, it feels like 5 years.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Isn't it weird? Now CNN is like, hey, did you hear that the New York Times is reporting there's some kind of money deal?
I hadn't heard that.
With the Bidens and Burisma, there's some kind of shady business going on.
What? I had a friend ask me, do you think that Hunter Biden laptop is even real? Not if, do you understand how far out you got to be on board with CNN world? Like, they didn't even think he had a laptop that was found. I mean, dude, this is not for you. This is for the idiots at home that are programmed to go with Kamala now for no apparent
that's
reason.
right. That's right, because Jake Uger and Kyle Klinsky and Crystal Ball say that it's school. She's going to be better than Biden because those people are all paid for liars. Okay, here we go.
Is Orfila making a back and forth punching
There's
himself?
reporting coming from the New York Times that Hunter Biden asked the State Department for help on behalf of Ukrainian gas company Burisma, and this was at a time when his father, Joe Biden, was vice president.
Oh, my God. You mean that thing that Jimmy Dore on YouTube has been reporting for 5 straight fucking years? Oh, my God. They finally caught on over at CNN. Okay.
Yeah, we're learning all of this now that his father is no longer running for a second term in office.
We're learning all of this now. No,
wow.
No, you're not. What they mean is they're not ignoring it anymore.
Yeah,
that's what they mean.
The embargo has been lifted officially.
Yeah, we're just learning this. I got 1,000 people at the newsroom over my shoulder, but we're just learning this now. Jimmy Dore in his garage figured this out 5 fucking years ago. Wow. Okay.
State Department is releasing some information obtained by the New York Times that Hunter Biden, back in 2016, when he was a board member at this Ukrainian gas company, Burisma, he reached out to folks in the U.S. Embassy in Italy and wanted some help. He wanted some networking for Burisma, and they balked pretty quickly.
Hey, first, what's the big deal about the time-tested tradition of inviting your own son into the family business of abject deceit and corruption? Do you not believe in America?
Yeah, they all do. I'll quote somebody. They all do that. There's somebody who hates Trump.
Yeah.
And you bring this up. They all do that.
They all do
okay.
That. Mm-hmm.
Internal information that the Times was able to obtain through the.
So that's CNN reporting. And here's the New York Times. Hunter Biden sought State Department help for Ukrainian company. After the President Biden dropped his re-election bid, his administration released records showing that while he was vice president, his son solicited U.S. government assistance. You didn't need him to release that info. We already knew this.
Did they obtain the information from other better news sources from 5 years ago? Where they just recently obtained this?
Wow. Now his protection is gone because his dad is a lame duck. So now his protection is gone.
Better not drop his gun somewhere.
So Fredo Biden is looking out at Lake Tahoe right now, if you know what I'm saying. Hunter Biden sought assistance from the U.S. government for a potentially lucrative energy project in Italy. Or you say Italy. I say Italy. Italy, while his father was vice president, according to newly released records. The records which the Biden administration had withheld for years. Imagine if this was Trump. Imagine if this was Trump. Had withheld. Could you believe he held those records?
I can't believe that he didn't do something like that. What I'm the most shocked at is they didn't find something like this on him.
Trump.
He certainly looked.
I know. So here we go. Indicate that Hunter Biden wrote at least one letter to the U.S. ambassador to Italy in 2016 seeking assistance for the Ukrainian gas company Burisma, where he was a board member who didn't have to show up for work. Am I right about that? Okay, but by the way, it's okay now. CNN has given the all clear. We can all talk about this, Kurt. And when they say that it's corruption, you can completely switch directions in mid-flight. No need to apologize to everyone you belittled for seeing this 5 years ahead of time like we did. You have clearance from your TV news network, and that's like the VIP card to the top floor. Here we go.
It certainly is, and I'm worried about when Joy Behar, who pronounces Italy the same way you pronounce Italy, when she finds out she couldn't go on vacation to Italy because of these hijinks with Hunter Biden.
All right.
The embassy officials appear to have been uneasy. I don't feel easy. With the request,
I bet you it was actually easy, and they did not feel uneasy.
I bet you they did feel it. With request from the son of the sitting vice president on behalf of a foreign company. I want to be careful about promising too much, wrote a Commerce Department official based in the U.S. Embassy in Rome, who was tasked with responding. This is a Ukrainian company, and purely to protect ourselves, USG should not be actively advocating with the government of Italy without the company going through the DOC Advocacy Center. Okay.
Well, let's do some lines and see what happens, man.
So
let's go out tonight, do some blow, and we'll work it out.
So these what do you call those acronyms? The USG and DOC. They refer to the United States government and a Department of Commerce program that supports American companies that seek business with foreign governments.
Wasn't Ron Brown in the Department of Commerce with those other people in that plane that crashed?
So I think so.
Yeah.
So what's the big deal? I mean, isn't that always the way that he did that? He wrote and he tried to get some state officials with a conscience. Isn't that the way it always is? You're trying to get your government to do a little favor for a no-show job you got in the Ukraine because your dad's vice president, and then some state official with the conscience is stepping in and ruining your plans.
I don't think it's a conscience, Jimmy. The way I'm reading that, Department of Commerce, when you had Whitney Webb, talking about the bizarre thing of having Ron Brown go through the Department of Commerce, it sounds to me like they're going, hey, there's an established criminal organization to go through. Is this officially sanctioned by the mob? That's how I read that.
Well,
because
I mean,
he's not going, that's illegal. He's going, hey, I want to be careful. Hey, this looks like mafia talk.
I mean, that's the whole point of sending you all the way over there. So you don't have to act at that ethically when you're that far away from home,
go
right?
to the DOC. Go to the DOC who normally handles the criminal shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, so Abe Lowell, a lawyer for Mr. Biden, said his client asked various people, including the U.S. ambassador to Italy at the time, John R. Phillips, whether they could how do you get to be ambassador to Italy? What do I gotta frickin' do to become the ambassador to Italy?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
Maybe you're right.
And I bet he asked various people while high-fiving over a hooker that they were spit roasting.
Okay. So they asked this guy, John Phillips, who was the ambassador to Italy at the time, whether they could arrange an introduction between Burisma and the president of the Tuscany region of Italy, where Burisma was pursuing a geothermal project.
They're known for not being corrupt in that region too. So it's actually, do you know how corrupt that is? That area already. It's already like weird that that's just crazy.
So guess what though, Kurt? No meeting occurred. No project materialized. No request for anything in the U.S. was ever sought, and only an introduction in Italy was requested. Mr. Lowell said in a statement, calling the outreach by Mr. Biden a proper request.
It probably was. This isn't the
State
criminal
Department.
stuff Biden announced proudly. I held the money.
So,
right?
Well, just an overall observation here, Kurt. How blatantly corrupt do you have to be to get rejected by a regional political figure in Italy?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly right. Exactly.
The State Department did not release the actual text of the letter.
Oh, thank God. If they do release it, I will assume it's fake and out of the Putin playbook.
A White House spokesman said the president was not aware when he was vice president that his son was reaching out to the U.S. Embassy in Italy didn't know.
Just reaching out.
Pedophile Peter and his son's phone. He didn't get text from Pedophile Peter.
Pedo Pete didn't know. The department's release of documents to the New York Times came shortly after President Biden dropped out of the presidential race. Isn't that quite a timing? And as his son prepares to stand trial next month on charges of evading taxes on millions of dollars in income from Burisma and other foreign businesses. Wow.
Get ready for a pardon coming.
Yep, right. I bet he does pardon
Biden's going to get his brain together to get that pardon,
I bet he gets that pardon. Mr. Biden's outreach to the U.S. Embassy in Rome on behalf of Burisma which has not been previously reported, echoes other episodes for which he has been criticized for implicitly leveraging his father's political clout to try to advance his foreign businesses. Wow. The embassy outreach was revealed in emails released by the State Department to the Times in response to a request for the public records from officials at the United States Embassy in Romania, related to efforts by Mr. Biden and other Americans to assist the real estate developer. What? The request was initially filed under the Freedom of Information Act, or a FOIA, in June of 2021. After nearly 8 months, the State Department had not released any records. About 18 months later, the department moved to close the case after releasing thousands of pages of records, none of which shed light on Hunter Biden's outreach to the United States government. Really? The Times challenged the thoroughness of the search, noting that the department had failed to produce responsive records contained in the cache of files connected to a laptop that Mr. Biden had abandoned at a Delaware repair shop. No responsive records, Kurt? Is that your way of saying that the porn wasn't freaky enough for you? Is that what you're saying? Is that how jaded you are? The department resumed the search and periodic productions, but had produced few documents related to Mr. Biden until the week after his father endorsed his re-election campaign and ended his re-election campaign and endorsed Vice President Harris for the Democratic nominee. Isn't that something how that works?
Or the guy who was wearing a Joe Biden skin mask endorsed her? Is that what you're saying? The guy 8 inches taller than him? Or the AI? Or the whatever? And
whenever somebody tells you that the timing is completely coincidental, it's right? That's code for them being directly involved with it occurring. That's what I think. The department said they said it was just coincidental. The State Department officials said it was coincidental, Kurt.
I mean, really? Really? How many of these coincidences are going to pile up over the course of your whole fucking life before you notice it's not a coincidence?
A person familiar with the timing said the release of the Italy documents was planned by the State Department weeks before the president announced his decision.
I'll bet it was because they prepare way ahead of time in case they got to do what they just did.
These mother effers. It's
not incompetence, it's malice. It's not incompetence, it's malice.
I like how they say a person familiar with the timing. What is that? What is that supposed to mean? Does that sound? You mean like a comedian familiar with the timing? Because this sounds like the whole thing sounds like a comedy bit.
It's unreal, man. It really is unreal.
A person familiar with the time. The records are likely to fuel suspicion among Republicans or anybody who's got a thinking brain.
Why would you write that? Why would you?
Just Republicans.
people are probably going to say this thing looks like a crime, and obviously because they're Republican. Do you understand how suspicious it is to write that sentence?
Yes.
Hey, your shit's missing. You're probably going to say I stole it just because I was in your house when you weren't here because you're Republican. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
The records are, Kurt, get this. This is an amazing paragraph. The records are likely to fuel suspicion among Republicans. I'm not a Republican, and it's fueling my suspicion.
I don't believe in America, and it fuels my suspicion.
Republicans who had spent years spotlighting the younger Mr. Biden's foreign business as a blotch on his father's career.
They're just validated so they did know every single thing, and they're validating it by saying that. That's what that means.
What does it take to put a blotch on a politician's career? How about advocating for genocide, funding a genocide, advocating for every war in my lifetime and being wrong about it? How about making it illegal for to get rid of your student debt in a bankruptcy? How about crushing railroad strikes?
What?
How about plagiarizing other politicians' speeches so you could run for president? What does it cost? What does it take to get a fucking blotch?
Telling the truth one time when you've been a liar and they liked you, like when you're Trump and you did whatever you're supposed to, and then you told the truth like a couple of times at most.
How about bringing our economy into being a third world status? How about starting more wars than the nation could ever possibly support? How about funding genocides across the globe? Is that not enough? He must have some wash and wear no stain slacks. I mean, if anybody needed them, right? So Kurt, guess what? The Republicans claimed validation when prosecutors hinted at Hunter Biden's exposure last week.
Why? Just because they were validated?
This is, I think, the biggest political corruption scandal in our history's lifetime. Representative James R. Comer, a Kentucky Republican and the chairman of the Oversight and Accountability Committee, said on Newsmax last week, I don't know, I think probably COVID and the vaccine rollout, lockdowns, masking children, I think all that, lying about the COVID origin, funding the COVID, I think that was probably the biggest. That's probably way bigger. How about the Iraq War?
I've already moved on. Sorry, Jimmy.
How about 9/11? How about 9/11?
It's in the past.
Okay.
Let bygones be bygones. That's what Martin Bormann used to say.
So who said this? A Kentucky Republican and the chairman of the Oversight and Accountability Committee. He said on Newsmax last week after the prosecutor's filing about Mr. Biden's outreach for his Romanian client.
I'll bet you it's not the biggest scandal.
Well, while Mr. Comer's committee had released a number of reports chronicling Hunter Biden's work for foreign companies, it did not produce any evidence related to his outreach to the U.S. Maybe because it's all hidden. You think?
No, I don't think at all. Or do research.
Wow. A businessman involved in the project said the outreach was undertaken at the request of Burisma when the company or its partners were having trouble securing regulatory approval for a geothermal energy project in Tuscany.
That's a weird thing.
Tuscany is known for its access to geothermal power, Kurt, creating brisk competition for companies seeking to enter the space. It is not clear whether the U.S. Embassy went to bat for Burisma. The project fizzled before it ever began drilling in Tuscany, according to the person involved in the geothermal power. Like any good businessman, Hunter Biden was merely pursuing a way to harness the energy coming straight up from hell. So that's just one little. Hunter Biden has millions of dollars in corruption with China, with Ukraine, with Italy, with Romania. The guy's the whole family is a corrupt. If you think Trump
screw up a slam dunk corruption deal, by the way, by doing it wrong, did he screw this up?
I think he did.
Why wouldn't this deal go through?
You tell. Somehow he screwed it up. Hey, I believe in having a substantial percentage of my financial future secured with gold and silver. That's why I decided to partner with our sponsor, Colonial Metals Group. They helped me set up a safe and secured self-directed IRA where I have access to my assets no matter what the stock market, or for that matter, what the government is doing. Let the team of experts at Colonial Metals Group help you protect your family's future. We've put together a special offer for our audience. Click on the link in the description below or call the special 800 number and you'll receive a safe and up to 10 grand in free silver. That's real. Up to, depending, but go find out. Go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Jimmy-Dore-show or call 888-910-1419. Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Chicago, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Duluth, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta, Jacksonville, Florida, Tempe, Arizona, and Burbank, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets.